This short video is intended to help practitioners better understand how to use the Student Progress Monitoring Assessment tool on the National Center on Intensive Intervention website to collect and graph data. While many assessment programs have built-in data systems that graph student progress, this tool may be useful for educators who don't have access to that type of data system. In addition, the NCII tool allows educators to store and graph data across multiple measures and assessment systems. When you open the tool, you will begin on the Data Entry tab. The Data Entry tab is where you will input most of the information that will impact the graphs on the other tabs of the workbook. The dark blue columns on the far left provide a space to enter the students' names and grade levels. Please note that there is space for 5 students in the Excel file, and it is not possible to add additional students into this Excel workbook. If you would like to graph data for more than 5 students, you will need to download multiple workbooks. The lighter blue columns in the middle of the page are where you will enter information about the assessment you are using and the time frame of the intervention. The tested measure refers to the name of the assessment measure, such as word identification fluency or computation, and the tested grade is the grade level of the measure you are using. Next, you will find space to enter the tested benchmark or the grade level benchmark goal of the assessment, and tested ROI or typical weekly rate of improvement of the assessment. This information is usually provided by the publisher of the progress monitoring measure. Also, note the start date of the student's intervention plan and how many weeks are left until you expect them to meet their goal. The green columns on the right are where you will input weekly progress monitoring data in each corresponding week's column. Only input data for weeks where you have documented progress monitoring results. It is okay to leave a cell blank if progress monitoring data are not available for a given week. You will notice that sample data are included when you download the workbook. It is important to input student data correctly to allow for accurate decisions about student progress. One tab to the right of the Data Entry tab is the Events tab. The Events tab is where you can record adaptations such as extra intervention time or other changes that occur to a student's plan. When you record different events, they will display on the student's graph as multicolored shapes. The next tab to the right of the Events tab is tab 1, which is where data from your first student will be graphed. Tab 1 is where all the data you entered on the Data Entry tab for your first student will be displayed. You can click the tab and rename it to match the name of the student who you are monitoring. Below the information about the measure, you will find the different options for setting the student's progress monitoring goal. There are 3 different options for setting a student's goal within the tool: benchmark goal, rate of improvement or ROI goal, and intra-individual framework or IIF goal. Choosing the most appropriate goal setting strategy depends on the individual characteristics of the student. The first option for goal setting is using the benchmark goal. This option uses the benchmark score that you added under the tested benchmark on the Data Entry tab. The benchmark score is based on the typical performance of large numbers of students and may be most appropriate for students performing at or close to grade level. Most published progress monitoring tools provide benchmarks. To show the benchmark goal on the graph, type 1 in the box. The second option for goal setting uses the national norms for weekly rate of improvement, or ROI, to calculate the student's growth. This goal setting strategy uses the ROI in combination with the student's baseline performance and the remaining weeks of instruction to calculate the goal. Many progress monitoring tools provide national norms for ROI for each grade, which you can use to set a goal that is ambitious but realistic based on the student's initial performance. To show the ROI goal on the graph, type 2 in the box. The third option is the intra-individual framework. This option is intended to be used for a small group of students with intensive academic needs. This approach uses the student's previous growth rate to calculate an ambitious but individualized goal. To set a goal using this option, the tool requires that you have entered at least 8 data points to accurately identify the student's baseline slope of improvement for the target skill. To show the IIF goal on the graph, type 3 in the box. To populate the aim lines for the benchmark and ROI goals on the graph, you must have at least 3 data points. This is because the tool uses the median value of the first 3 points to set the baseline for the student's performance. To save time, I have populated 8 weeks of data for both goals. Below the box where you select the goal, you will see all the events and their corresponding dates that you entered on the Events tab. You will notice shapes for each event on the graph. These shapes are intended to assist your visual analysis of the graph by indicating that on a particular date, the team implemented a change to the student's intervention, which could affect the student's progress. If you are collecting progress monitoring data on several skills for a student, you will find the next measure below. You would repeat the steps I covered above for the first measure for all subsequent skills and the corresponding measures you are using to monitor the skills. It is possible that you could use a different goal setting option for different measures. We recommend that you select a goal setting strategy in coordination with a team that supports the student. For example, a MTSS team or IEP team. If you would like a more detailed explanation of all 3 goal setting options, check out the NCII resource, Strategies for Setting High Quality Academic Individualized Education Program Goals, found on NCII's website, as well as NCII's self-paced module, Graphing and Analyzing Academic Progress Monitoring Data. I hope this short video was helpful in explaining how to use the Student Progress Monitoring tool on the National Center for Intensive Intervention website. As a reminder, please consider the following. You can only set goals if sufficient data are entered, 3 for ROI and benchmark, and 8 for IIF goals. You should choose the appropriate goal setting strategy based on the individual needs of the child. While the tool will graph all 3 goal setting strategies, it is best to select the most ambitious but realistic goal for the student. If you do not collect data weekly, or if the student missed a week of progress monitoring, leave that week blank in the data entry. Check your data entry. This tool is only as accurate as the data entered. Use the Events tab to indicate changes to the intervention. The tool is set up to provide graphs for up to 5 students. If you are collecting data for more students, you will need to download and save separate workbooks. If you have further questions, please visit our website at intensiveintervention.org or email us at ncii@air.org. Thank you.